Hello guys, back again. And this time we're going to talk about GameStop. And I know immediately when a lot of people heard that GameStop announced that they're going to be investing $40 million to basically open stores that will sell tech hardware like phones and tablets. And that they plan to open up to 400 stores in the next fiscal year, basically to brand new stores and acquisitions. And immediately when people hear the story, they immediately think, this is a response to Walmart. I saw this comment. This is obviously a response to Walmart's trade-in program. And my answer is probably not. Because people who know nothing are assuming that a company could just go, we're going to open 400 stores and bam, we're going to do it in the next year. It just doesn't happen that easy. First of all, you have to figure out where your stores are going to be, what towns you're going to put your stores in. And then you got to figure out where you're going to put it at, because each town has like residential zones and business zones, and you got to be in a business zone. You can't open it in a residential zone. And then you got to negotiate with the city possibly for the place you're going to do it at, or open the business in that town. And then, of course, the way it's modeled, and then the way the store is going to be modeled, remodel the building if it needs to be, hire employees, yada yada yada. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. So I don't to say this is a response to Walmart is unfair. I think it's more fair to say it's a response to the fact that there is more and more growing stresses on their business model. There's more and more growing stresses on the video game market, mainly for them because digital is becoming more and more a dominant thing. We started the last generation, which basically no digital, right? The 360 PS3, there's no digital content that didn't exist before that on these consoles, and then they started off with simply DLC. If you wanted to buy DLC for your game, you had to buy it online. And then the indie games came in, and that has matured, and now big game publishers are releasing games on it. And so now the market is slowly, getting bigger and bigger. And I believe there will always be physical copies of games, maybe a limited quantity, but there'll always be some kind of physical copy of games made. But we are heading down the path slowly of eventually it'll be mainly digital. Whether you like it or not, we're eventually going to be digital. We're eventually going to have to go online and download your game. Obviously, I see that period being a while due to the fact that, listen, the way the online environment is right now, how often does a new game come out online, supposed to work, and they still have problems. So in order to get to a place where people are comfortable buying everything online, is going to be far away yet until they get a lot of the internet structure fixed in gaming and in general the internet. Until a lot of things that happen to go down and things happen are fixed, it's still a ways off yet. But we are going to get there. And for GameStop, even the smallest change in the gaming market that could affect their earnings is a major blow to them. And it is not unusual for a company, as big as they are and as dominant as they are in one space, because they bought out all their competition. The only competition they really have, honestly, is online. Selling brand new game stuff is online. That's their only competition. Or the only store I can think of that could be competition that would have a lot of games would be something like Toys R Us. But I just think that's two different markets, in a sense. So, a lot of companies get as big as they are, they experiment. And this is what they're doing. Because right now, GameStop's a one-trick pony. If the video game market, for every reason, falls on its face, they're in big trouble. Maybe they're going with the fact that a lot of people are thinking this generation is the last console generation ever. I don't believe that, but they're saying that. And so, 400 stores, I wonder how much this is going to be. I would imagine, in my mind, I think a lot of this has got to be acquisitions, because to actually really open 400 stores in a year, that's a lot of work if they were new. But maybe they could do half and half, who knows. Obviously, they've already got talks of acquisitions in the work, or almost finalized in order to say acquisitions, which means they've already got some deals going on somewhere. But here's what the CEO said. As we've gotten into the Apple relationship and AT&T relationship, what we see is those companies really need better and more sophisticated distribution that can present their products in appropriate ways, said CEO Paul Raines. There is a fragmented dealer base around the United States. We are a great way to go to the market. Now, a lot of people picture their stores Kind of like the best smaller mall stores like Best Buy has, which in other words they'll have some phones, some tablets, probably some top games, and then probably some accessories for the phones and tablets, which is probably the smart thing to do. Probably not a big risk in a smaller store. For phones and tablet stores, you really honestly don't need a big store. There's not a massive amount of variety when you really look at it of new stuff out. So we'll see where they go with this. And we'll see how it does. I think, to be honest, listen, Apple and AT&T, if they can find another person who wants to put their products in the store that equals more money for them, they're going to be all for it, right? But the truth of the matter is, I think the cell phone makers and tablet makers like basically a bunch of fragmented dealer base. That way nobody's dominant. They don't have one person to have to deal with to negotiate how much they're going to sell something for. If it's fragmented, they could set their price, and then the dealers have to deal with it. If there is somebody like being dominant in that space, then that's when they're going to have to negotiate a lot and probably cut in their profit margin in a way, because they're going to have to give concessions to that big chain store they don't want them carrying their competitor's product that could do really good there, so they would kind of give them a deal. In the business sense, that's how it works in a lot of ways. So we'll see how it works. Again, GameStop has to find more than one trick pony. Kind of like example, when they talk about Apple was a one trick pony company. They did Macintosh computers, and then whatever way you want to say, accident, a plan, whatever. They made the iPod, which was very popular. Then they made the iPhone, and now they have the iPad. So now they got several business models, and of course they got the music and iTunes that all tie into it, movies and stuff. And so they're more than a one trick pony, right? And the more different markets and things you have, less likely you will suffer a downturn as a company. A lot of companies have done this, where they've done other stuff on the side, and it sometimes ends up being really big, and it cushions them from bad stuff happening. So this is what GameStop's trying to do. They're trying to get ahead of the curve. The problem with GameStop for any gamer, like they think their gamers are going to go to their tech store, is simply this. One, they're going to have to go with lower prices to get than other people to get gamers in the store, because GameStop is a very polarizing name in the gaming world for gamers. A lot of gamers don't like it. When you go to the store, it's like, here, you want to reserve games, and they try to push the used game on you and stuff, and people know about their practices, and a lot of gamers disdain GameStop. So they're going to have to do some reputation building on the new stores in order to get those people to go in it. Because if they hear GameStop owns it, there's going to be some negative opinions right off the bat. But anyway, since I've gone on for well over 7 minutes on this topic, what do you think about GameStop opening up 400 tech stores in the next year? Would you be interested in going into one of their stores? What reason do you think they're doing this right now? What do you think is causing this? And we'll see what happens. So guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing, liking, favorite, and I will talk to you guys soon. Later.